try to run, try to hide. I needed to survive. Heard you in the rain. Will you always be there? The last thing you said. Silence.
it was versus some 3K stack in an open qualifier. It definitely does not feel great for Bait. Dandy did make some announcements on the Russian side. I also saw that the podcast or whatever, some longer way of communicating is coming very soon from him.
A post,
something
maybe an announcement.
like a podcast, something like a longer announcement, something like that. Anyway, what it's all about, I'm not sure.
Could it be about what we're seeing with the players right now?
Yeah, if you got
Skylark and Spartan are there, we seem to be too short of the regulars from Bait.
Yeah, some mixture from aggressive mode and Bait. Aggressive mode honestly didn't really do that well as well. If you remember the last WePlay event, the Mad Moon event before the WeSave charity event, aggressive mode was there and Bait was there, and they pretty much finished on those bottom spots, both of them.
Well, they were in the qualifier, right? For this, they didn't make it through in the end. We only have one slot from each side, and Virtus Prodigy too strong in that regard.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation. Bait, a freshly formed stack, HELLRAISERS, a freshly formed stack as well, but for HELLRAISERS, everything is working out. And 2 ex-teammates as well. 2 teammates that won TI together, man. We have Funnick and Dandy.
This is true. It always feels like there's an opposing trajectory, right? HELLRAISERS on the rise and Bait just seems to be declining. So maybe this is the turnaround that can get them there. What do we want to see in this game? What do you feel is the thing that keeps tripping Bait up in these series?
I haven't seen, like we said, we haven't seen them shine, so it's hard to say. We'd have to have some more insight in what they've been practicing. But to your point, you said you wanted to be positive. I sent a message to LeBron saying, "Oh, please win a game so I can talk good about you," and he just replied, "Sorry," and that's it.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's not really positive.
Yeah.
That's not really on a positive note. By the way, at least they can play to their strengths. That's always something good. So far as well, when they were drafting, they were picking heroes that are good for their players. They're kind of following the same road here. You have the Batrider, you have the Chen. Chen is something that they can play very well. Same goes for the Batrider. They haven't played it before on the side of Bait, not in this formation at least, but Skylark, ever since he was in Elysium, like the Greek stack before, or even Adfinum, Batrider was something they played. I remember they would play these Shadow Demon Kunkka Invoker combos when position 4 Kunkka was popular. They would constantly make these rotations, Disruption into Torrent into Sunstrike, you know, just maybe Skylark and Spartan can bring some positiveness, you know, and some Greek influence, because if there's someone that can raise your morale, that's Spartan. Like he's the one that's going to make your team at least be able to win from having that amount of energy that's necessary.
Okay, that's definitely important, though. When you mentioned this Batrider, I kind of see it also maybe being in the support role or even in the mid lane. I would like to see it lane against the Timber, even against the Clinks. It looks pretty good. So I'm not sure that we're going to be seeing it on the offlane. I think it's still a flex pick quite a lot.
By the way, Chen first picked and then instantly Timber and Clinks, and that Clinks. Right now, you don't care. You can devour his creep. You need what level? I mean, you need only your levels. As long as you exactly, as long as you're leveling that pack, because Chen also needs levels in his spell to take bigger creeps. So
it's not about that wait until 6.
Yeah. You don't have to wait. You can always be able to eat one of his creeps that he's moving around. And Clinks, yesterday we saw it. I really think this hero is on a rise. It's going to be very strong. I played it in a couple of pubs as well. The amount of damage that you dish out early on, the -2 armor on that pack, level 1, it's just... It's in a really good spot.
It looks insane. To me it was insane even before the small buff that came in. We saw people playing it and then they just stopped. Now we are seeing it, like you said, the rise, and I really think that when they find an optimal way to play this hero, that it's going to be even stronger. Like just to incorporate it in a draft and actually know against which heroes it's strong at the moment.
And it looks like HELLRAISERS, the way they're drafting right now is like, we're just going to run at you on the lanes and get control, because whenever we see Disruptor and looks good, it's when a team is ahead, right? Is there any reason in particular you think we haven't seen more Disruptor? I think we've seen maybe 8 games total so far, and it's won most of the ones it's been in.
There are just some position 5s that are better and people are opting to go for those. Disruptor also has been, let's say, figured out a little bit. There's too many teams played it. A couple of weeks back, if you remember, every other game was a disruptor game.
Yeah.
One thing though that I really want to mention from HELLRAISERS is the fact that these three heroes aren't really good versus Bat, and now you have Shaker Bat that pretty much tells us that it will be that offlane Bat most likely. And for HELLRAISERS to work against this, they need a core that's going to be strong versus him. So your PLs, your Slarks, something like that, but Klinks, then if that happens, is sent to the mid lane, right? That's where it will have to be played, because Klinks Disruptor versus Batrider Shaker sounds very dangerous. Like, even with the recent buffs to the Klinks, that lane is not what you want if you're HELLRAISERS.
So they went with an Ember, and I feel like an Ember would be worse against the Batrider. I'm not sure. The point, like, I understand Liz's point, but also when you have two range heroes, in the first two levels, if you constantly harass the Batrider, it's actually hard for him to go in front, right? It's really bad if you start turning, you have a lot of stacks on you, and then the turn rate kicks in. But if you're hitting him and he's really low, and if he can't run into you, then it's hard.
Sorry, just 1 second. They just picked Ancient Apparition.
Is this a mid dandy AA?
I wouldn't be surprised, but do you really want to mid A versus, let's say, if they put Klinks? Okay, I mean, I can see it.
You're both fragile, right? Because you can harass down the Klinks fairly well with the Chill and Touch.
It could be the off. But why would you offlane Shen versus a Klinks? The Dominator build is pretty much why everyone goes offlane Shen.
And you can't do that against Klinks.
I mean, you can do it versus Klinks, but you're just giving him an opportunity for easy 200 gold.
That's the case. It's basically you just delivering him his creep to devour.
This is the idea behind it. Usually people think, all right, if I have this hero, I can't go Dominator. If I'm playing versus Doom or I'm playing versus Klinks or Enchanters, it doesn't necessarily always work that way, because you bring that offensive material way too soon, and they might steal your creep once, twice, or eat it, but it won't really affect the way you want to play the game strategically. But it's out there. This base draft is definitely out there. For me, it looked even like a misclick at this point, going for AA.
I mean, it's been known to do this, right? Like, just go for the more trippy alternatives, such as like Razor support and stuff they've done in the past. Are we worried that they're going to do that thing that we were complaining OGC done a lot in previous series, where they're so busy experimenting, they're not maybe finding something solid that works?
Oh, I'm not sure. Like, I feel like you are afraid of this Timber. You let it go. The hero is just way too strong, and then you're like, okay, there is this one hero that actually works well against it. So just pick it. Dandy has been known to play it in mid, so it's not impossible. They can flex it. They ban the Broodmother, pick the Lycan. Actually, to me, HELLRAISERS here, it looks really strong against 4 of their heroes. But I guess they think that one of these is going to be.
They also pick Lycan into a Disruptor. If I'm a Disruptor, even though you're talking about wanting to be on the offense, right, as a Disruptor, I like that matchup versus Lycan, and we see many teams actually pick the Raptor because of the Lycan. He can never get away. It doesn't matter how speedy he is. When you have that glimpse into kinetic field, you just heap the wolf in his own little cage, right? And
does it feel like overall, actually, HELLRAISERS draft deals with Lycan well? Because you've got like a decent amount of lockdown. As you said, the Disruptor enables kills very easily.
You have this one thing in which you're very fast, so you can get on top of the Klinks very easily. That's something. But I actually expected them to have this huge win condition as their last pick, and they ended this draft with a hero that puts them on a tempo that pretty much says we need to end the game when Lycan has BKB, Necro, perhaps AC, and that's it. Late game, it's going to be very difficult for them to win if HELLRAISERS just round their draft up with something solid here.
To me, that's a solid approach, though. If you're bait, you're like, okay, HELLRAISERS are at the moment a better team than us. They are playing better. So if the game is long,
they're gonna outplay us.
Yeah, like you need to play better than them for 40 minutes. Here, you're like, okay, we have a draft, we can play better than them for the first 20 minutes. Laning phase, it's something you basically learn, anyone can play it. solidly well, and then we just snowball and see if they can actually deal with us. So I'm kind of fine with this approach, to be honest.
I like how it's kind of basically to dumb that down. It's, yeah, if we're bait, let's just make sure we can play well for a shorter period of time. Let's not risk this going late. And it does give them a clear objective, but it looks like Hellraisers, they're leaning more into that late scenario.
Pretty much the Snaga pick is a good combo for them, right? You have the Song plus the Disruptor ulti. But then again, now Hellraiser's draft is also wonky because one of these heroes is going to have to be your position 4, right? Is it going to be the Ember? Is it going to be the Klinks? Is it going to be the Naga? That's the question, right? Both of these drafts are out there a little bit. They're bringing in something new, something a little bit different. Ember has been played as 4 before. Same with the Naga. Klinks has been played on position 5. Yep.
And we have seen Disruptors in the 4 role as well, rushing towards that Axe.
I guess they can lane the Naga versus the Bat, and then you play around your mirror images as well. But it's not that great.
It's a long cooldown.
Yeah, the cooldown is pretty bad.
If there's a game that's bait's gonna win, to me, it's this one, right?
This is the one.
I think this is the one, right? I'm not sure if they can win against Hellraisers, but if there's a game that will go for bait, this is the one. They have ways to really end the game. They synergize well. They counter the enemy heroes. Like they have Shaker for Naga. They have Push with Chen and Lycan, and they counter the Timber. If there's a game they can win, this is one, though I still kind of believe that Hellraisers are the better.
That's the worst thing, you know, we lost all our confidence, sadly, in Dandy and Bait, because this draft from Bait, even though it has only 1 win condition and it looks kind of awkward with the Ancient Apparition 4th pick, it still looks like it has that early push potential. It has a lot of catch for the Ember, Naga, and Klinks. It pretty much can solve with the Timber in the laning stage, and later on you have the Ancient Apparition. Everything he said is spot on, but sadly everything he said is spot on. We just don't believe in Bait strongly.
I'm gonna go for Bait.
Okay, there we go.
I miss all the CIS predictions anyway.
Okay, so now you're actually cursing. That's not helping them at all, Nicola. Well, hopefully our commentators have some helpful things to say. Hopefully Bait can actually turn this around, because it's looking a bit grim for them right now. We've got Sunsfire and Syndra on the line. Please tell me you see a shining light at the end of the tunnel for Bait.
Unworthy.
Syndra?
Yeah. Are you hoping for me to see the shining light?
Please, please. Did they go away from the light or towards the light, more importantly?
I mean, I think the panel had a lot of good points about what the strengths of the Bait lineup is, but there's a couple of really surprising things happening in this draft. It's Skylark playing Chen position 3, LeBron.
Shocking, shocking.
What happened here, but yeah. The Klinks is 4, so he will be looking
what
for Chen,
about the old school Dendy AA mid? Do you like that pick?
I don't think it has enough merit. Like, it's good against Timber, and that's kind of it, right? Like, what else does it really offer here?
I have no idea. The last time, I mean, I guess I've seen it a couple times in Dota 2, but it's a Dota 1 kind of memory. It's an ancient thing, you know? Yeah. Like back in the day, you would mid Bane, you would mid Lion, Itch, and AA. And actually Shadow Demon started out as a mid hero. But I'm not sure. I mean, it owns Timber Saw like later in the game, because you get the fast levels. So I do like that.
Curious about the lane matchup. I feel like on paper, Ember does okay here. As soon as he's level 3 and gets 2 in Flame Guard, you can't break it with Chilling Touch. So every time he puts it on, to Chilling Touch and Cold Feet, and even that Kasani can maybe outlast or outrun anyway. He can dodge the snap with Sleight of Fist. There's plenty of plays for Ember in that mid lane. I think the lane to watch is top, to be honest. It's when you put Batrider support, you're looking for immediate value in the early laning stage, and Timber hates this matchup, so that's a good start. They put this Bat not against the Naga. And it kind of offsets the problem that Lycan has against Timber as well, because he's now protected, so to speak. Because this lane is usually horrible for Lycan. Playing against Timber is one of the worst matchups you can have. which makes it even more interesting that they picked it into it, right?
Yeah.
But they saw a plan there.
Funnick did 7 sticky napalms, but he's going to be fine just because of the fact that Disruptor Pushka, who's now eating up the sticky napalms himself. Very good support here, of course, to have in lane. Courier actually almost dies here. The Baboon from Batrider, but looks like it will limp away safely. So you think the first blood will occur in this lane?
I think it will occur bottom, probably. It actually should have. I think LeBron's fissure was good enough, but he failed the body block on Clinks. Chen needed like 2 more attacks, but he kind of let him through by mistake. So they could have got it bought. Yeah, it's probably the most likely lane for me. Unless, well, Spartan is actually dying.
Yep, kinetic field holds him in, and Sonic is able to finish him off.
I love this approach from Timbersaw in this lane. You know, when you're playing against Lycan, it's very tempting to get reactive armor, just so the wolves don't threaten you at all. But they've made the call that, well, if the wolves start attacking me, I'm just gonna nuke them down with my 2 pure damage spells, right? And this gives them so much more kill potential in the bat, where having armor against bat doesn't actually really matter. What he kills you with is magic damage, so you can just max out these nukes and bullet him out of the lane. And Spartan, he had 2 salves. He didn't get to use either of them. He just from 2/3 HP.
Yeah, and looking at the early season, Timbersaw's off to a pretty good start. Pretty much a wash between him and Lycan, but on the other side, the Naga Iron is slightly ahead, so pushing out the lane. In fact, getting Skylark down to a very low amount, as Roger is trying to zone as much as possible, as the Earthshaker is ready to fissure. But we might see a kill here on Skylark. A lot of damage being applied by Roger and his arrows, but not wanting to go any further because of the fissure potential. But talking about AAs, he's going to get off a cold feet, and it will not proc. What the hell do you buy on this hero? Like, is there anything special? Like, do you go Ags at some point? But I don't know. I haven't really seen too much of the right click type AA, but it does have potential in theory.
I think if you look at the strategy that they're playing, they want to win in the mid game, right? So you probably buy some sort of utility. You could buy Greaves or Pipe or something, some sort of aura timing where your whole lineup comes together. I think the most successful mid AA I've seen has been no one in, I want to say, like a month or 2 ago. VP played as part of a 5-man strat, and he rushed Greaves, I think. There may be a place for Necro Book. I'm not 100% sure if Necro AA is a thing.
Have you seen the Ags? The newer Ags?
I think I've had it myself. It's kind of meh most of the time. But if you're core, maybe it works. Like you maybe get enough.
That's what I'm thinking. Like when it comes to the Aghanim's being changed, obviously the old one was very, very powerful with the Ice Blast and whatnot. But if you're playing a core, Ags makes a lot of sense, I feel like, because then you actually can scale a little bit better into the late game. But
it's still about, does AA get to just stand and deliver in fights? You have no mobility. You have pretty weak base stats compared to a lot of other heroes. So like usually ranged carries in games, what they do is they have some sort of, either they have a mobility spell of their own, or they buy Pike, right, or Force Staff or whatever, or BKB, so that they can stand and deliver their damage. In this game, if you go Ags on AA, I think the Ember and Timber just jump on you and you die. You can't reset in any possible way. So that's my concern with going that route, is you're just susceptible.
You'd need a few items before that at the very least, but I can hope Cinderin. It is a fun item in practice, actually. I don't know how good it is, but like you said. Okay, Sonny, at half HP right now. 22 and 12 versus a 17 and 7. He's getting chased, yep. Spartan, Timber Chain to the face, gets a Fairy Fire off into Pushka. Looks like he will find it. That last proc, the Thunderstrike there. Or the new proc, in fact.
It feels really bad when you're playing 5 bad and you lose your lane. Let me just say that. That's a rough one. It's one of the harder heroes to feel impactful on if the first 5 minutes don't go well on your support bat.
Definitely here you want to get off to a good start. That's early TP here from Spartan.
He's just refilling Dendy's bottle.
Okay.
I don't know if going Flame Break level 3 is good here. But like his lane matchup is awkward. Usually 5 bat, what you really want is you want to carry in the lane matchup 5. Okay, they're gonna go blast. Just gonna blink away. So if you're playing 5-bat, I've actually played this a fair bit myself. I love the hero, and I think part of the strength of it is that it can play multiple roles. But if you're babysitting a hero that offers you nothing in return in terms of fighting, right? You want to play aggressive and then look for kills or bully the enemies out. He's on an island in this game. Lycan can't help him at all. So he's kind of 1v2 against Timber Disruptor in terms of and it just doesn't really work that well. If you imagine his carry in the lane had like a stun or a slow, suddenly it's a totally different story. We can skill flame Firefly and you can try to run people down to kills. But Lycan's just, he's just there. And his worlds aren't even good because he's against Timber. So it's tough.
He is technically there. LeBron, he just supporting this top A blast coming in. It doesn't look like it's going to connect on anybody though. So that might just end this rotation from LeBron, as Funnick looks to be super okay at the current point in time. But yeah, you're right. The Bat Rider does feel a little bit awkward here. I mean, what do you think was going through in terms of the draft? Do you think AA was actually the plan all along? Like these specific roles? You mentioned the Chen. Was it did it feel like one of those times where you're kind of panicking in the draft a bit to figure out the roles of each respective player?
I don't know. Like this Timber was first phased, so they had plenty of time to prepare, right? I think Dendy just loves this mid AA and wants to make it work. So I don't think that's too surprising. The Bat Rider they may have picked only as a flex pick, and then they just identified, okay, the matchup against Naga is not that great. We could just put it on support and ensure it gets against the Timber, which is fine. But then the Lycan last pick is really the problem. It was a good measure from LeBron.
Yeah, terrific stuff to start off, but Funnick will be here. Roger.
It's actually gonna
looks like the dust is about to dissipate. In fact, the smart my greatest yet again. Check it, a beautiful Chen keeping him alive, so Flip did fall eventually, and the shot is not being enough to finish Spartan, as he's gonna have fun. Not a whole lot of minutes because the Soaring is coming back. Excalibur pops his ult. Baby Timber changes the call of the huge overall from Funnick, but at the end of the day, 5 sticky napalms. They're finally able to get this really tanky Timber stuff.
Yep. 2 kills. Big rotation from them, but even if this turns out to be like a draw or whatever, just getting the ball rolling, you shouldn't underestimate how much that matters, especially if you're a team that's struggling in general. Just finding some sort of success in the game so that you keep momentum and get something done is really important. And good Ice Blast from Dendy clipping the Clinks, got them the first kill, and Lycan level 6 pop shape.
A little update on the CS, I suppose. Nagastar 65-7, Lycan 41-7. Quite the discrepancy overall. I mean, it shouldn't be too surprising considering the lane setup that we saw. And the fact that Bat Rider ended up feeding a couple kills there to open things up for Timbersaw. But in terms of comeback potential for Lycan, what are your thoughts on this hero if you're a little bit behind?
I think it's okay to be a little bit behind as long as you really lose your first timing. And Lycan, that's usually when you either hit Necrobook or Dom. He's going Necrobook first. So now when Shape is ready, I would love to see him make an aggressive rotation that results in probably the bottom tower. The way you try to set this up is by having the Timber and put pressure on him in one lane, and then you can make the move in the other lane. I think Bat Rider has to get experience in this game. I don't think on them playing the true 5 is going to work very well. Like, Shin needs to yield, give some space to Bat. Just go jungle, and then when you want to push, you send Chen there. I'm not too happy with their map split right now. Right? It's 10 minutes in, your Bat's level 4, and your Shaker's level 3. That's rough.
Well, the 10-minute mark is upon us, my friend. So experience will be coming their way. Thanks.
Yeah, it's usually the mark of trouble when you reach minute 10 and both heroes need Tome, right? You usually want one support to really need it, but like you look at the Radiant side, right? Disruptor level 6. He doesn't need the Tome, so the Tome he can get level 6. On the Dire, you need to pick your poison. Do you want a Bat Rider that doesn't have Lasso? Do you want a Shaker that doesn't have Echo? Ideally, you split the map in a way such that when you hit this timing, one of them is either 6 or close to 6, or doesn't need 6. Bat Rider right now.
Look right now. Yeah, it's going to be LeBron, level 4. He's not the main target they would have liked to find. They actually just passed by Lycan in the jungle. But you know, they'll take the free kill. And actually a counter smoke here from Bait. Spartan now level 6. I believe he's the one that had the Tome, right? I would assume, considering Earthshaker. So Lasso is available. A blast is coming in. Connectfield nicely played here to block everybody off, but the Pushka still might find its way to the grave as Excalibur. Okay, they will find it with the wolves. And he is working on Necro 2, about to finish that.
It's just not good enough. Like, Shapeshift and Necrobook pop to kill the position 5, while there's a Naga free farming and a midwave that's pushing into your tower. This is not a high impact play. You have to look for something bigger on the enemy side of the map to gain space. You have a level 8 Chen with a Dom creep. He really wants to push. Play around him. He's the strength of your lineup right now. Skylark should not be on an island down here getting killed off, but they're not really using the hero as his strength at all. He's actually gonna maybe die here.
And that's a lot.
That's a rip type. Fine, yeah. There's two.
To get it off. Alright, Fissure blocking in the Naga Siren. Does have Song of the Siren though.
Oh no, he's plus.
AA Blast actually gets cancelled essentially. And he's going to TP out this. So a lot of rotations, and they ended up not being able to get anything out of it other than a use of Song.
Right. And now bait is bottom, right? But now the Chen is gone, and you're like snap shapeshift. So the push can possibly be repelled by Timber, or they can just make their own move.
Like it. It's actually just going to TP out in the face of danger. And we'll do so.
Surprised Kazani didn't save his chains there.
Yeah.
They just went committed. Lycan at this point in the time doesn't have boots, so you can kind of just run him down with Red Ember.
Phonic TP's bot lane to try to take out as many creeps as he can. Still 4 remain. AA Blast will connect. I think he's up a little bit too much, as he likes to die here and shatter to Dandy. So despite this kind of being frustrated from having somebody here in the bot lane, this fight will they'll find the trade in the Dandy and the AA. And now LeBron puts up the enchant totem. A little bit off HP. They have enough to follow this up. Finally, a lasso is used into an enchant totem, and they do get the kill on Ember Spirit. So with that, a 2-for-1 trade for bait. As the Pushka might find his way as well. Echo Slam is used mostly for the stun, if nothing else. Spartan trying to get as much as possible. And they will finally get the 3rd kill. Takes a while, but they find the tier 1 tower as well. So that was overall pretty good for bait.
Roger, thinking about going wrong here, but needs backup. Nobody's there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's some of the good stuff, right? It still feels like it was a bit, the pacing of it a little bit fun. We have to remember there's a Naga free farm yellows to the map, but it's some of the right idea here. Just quickly punishing the Timber who goes up to defend alone. If you have any backup there, that's a different story, but he tried to solo defend, they kill him off, they pile on the tower, you get it done.
Yeah, it felt like Phonic was playing very cocky, as if he was unable to be killed at all.
It's a good death if it defends his tower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it didn't, so it wasn't very good.
Yeah,
Phonic has this tendency, I would say, when he plays this Timber in some of their games, that a little bit too invincible.
common trait amongst Timber soft players, I feel. But sometimes you are invincible. Not hard to gauge that balance.
That shouldn't surprise you too much that you're not invincible against AA minute 13, though. That's kind of...
Yeah.
Everybody
AA is really good hero. He does have Hood finished on Phonic. I believe he had that during his death. We'll be going for a Yule Scepter now. So no huge surprise in terms of item position. Roger continuing to scout a little bit. Sentry will find him, but
dust on that.
no dust to follow it up. Dust is on LeBron.
Oh,
Necro booked out.
He's gonna eat it. Nicely done.
LeBron still not in range for the dust. So to get a bullet one. Good attempt, but we'll end.
Oh, he's playing with that so bad.
Yeah,
That's like the
5 heroes are chasing him. Right?
Oh, he's gonna break his smoke.
Now he's gonna pop a smoke. Oh my. That is so bad.
It's like,
and they're out of smoke. He knows.
It's like an old tragedy. You just... Oh my goodness. I don't know who the hero is, but if it's anybody on bait, that's a tragedy. No matter who it is in the story.
Well, the whole team was there. So
oh my god. It just hurts to watch, because you can demonstrate that they must be in that moment, right? Like, it didn't work. All right, we're gonna smoke and head out, and then it just really breaks the smoke.
I mean, is it just me? It feels like bait is kind of running together a lot, and they're not playing the map as efficiently as they could be, especially with a like team.
Right, too much right here, and then earlier when they really put together with Lycan and Shin, they didn't do it. It's like a bit of a disconnect. At least I don't agree like timing in this game, how they play strength of their heroes. It's only gonna get harder.
So Pushka, still pretty healthy. That will connect. He's gonna attempt to TP out, and nope, Fissure is there, and down he goes. But it's a 1-for-1 as Dendi dies in the mid lane. My goodness,
Anytime he
that's
gets
a great
fucked.
trade. Hellraisers. Roger getting chased by the Lycan. Of course, it's a port Clink, so not world. It's a 2-for-1 in the end, but it was across the lanes.
You gotta get... You committed so much. If you can't get the tower here, it feels pretty bad. And I don't know if they can. Now Timber can frontline. He's dead for another 10 seconds, so Punic doesn't care about anything. Now they're gonna run him down one by one.
Skylark, oh, nice Fissure picking them up, and that will actually save his life. Is that a Spirit Festival? I do believe it is. On the Ember Spirit. Yep. Full effect. Active plan is going to keep Punic in place, but they don't have a lot of damage to follow it up with other than Dendi's ult, which finally comes through. Song of Siren to follow. Punic, don't think he's going to shatter as is. We'll get under 3 heroes. There's a heal from Chan, but this is going to be the death of 2 heroes on base side. Punic will trade. Nope, he will survive despite all these creeps attacking him. And that is a double kill for Nyx as 3 dead. Make it for Dendi. Right and center, and all they lose is the Disruptor Syndrome. And that was after everyone else had already died.
It's just, you're seeing the weakness of the AA, right? In these fights. He needs a wall in front of him. I think AA to feel impactful in fights, you need to be the initiator. You need Lasso, you need Shaker, Stun, in Shapeshift, and AA can ulti, stand in the back, and deliver some damage. But even the slightest bit out of position, with Ember, he's killed. Now he has a ball, so he can delay. But it just feels like he's gonna fall down and die. It's gonna
Little big BD trying to kill that tomato the whole time, but doesn't matter. Again, they really need Spartan Blink, and I know he's support, but it feels like they have no catch. Like Lycan can chase people down. I mean, Earthshaker as well, I guess. Either one. He's closer to the Blink, of course. Everyone just runs away. Clinks is just getting dusted, still living. Can't happen. In fact, Roger is going towards the death zone now, so.
Yeah. That's a bit on a 4-play time. I mean, he has so much freedom in this game. There's tons of damage on Naga and Ember, so I feel like Clinks could of some sort. And good. This way, the damage will keep coming in.
LeBron loses in place. He clicks and he gets taken out very quickly. Lycan pops the ult. And see if they can actually get a kill out of this. Punic will be fine. The Siren Chakram was just used, so it's going to hold down a little bit longer. Not able to cover this up as they would like, but that is there. Not able to hold him in place of the kinetic field. Skylark will go down the right click eventually. So Dendi again, his Ice Blast off, but to little to no avail. So 3 for nothing again as Hellraisers just winning basically every single engagement. This game has felt pretty positive. As they have a 10k.
I don't think they have lost a fight. Even the fight where they got lost 2-0 on kills, they still got more gold out of the map at the same time. It's been a sequence where we were like, okay, bait gained ground in the game there. It doesn't, at least it didn't feel like that to me at any point, that there was that moment where like, okay, now the time. I think you're already in kind of YOLO territory where you need to pop all your stuff, run at them, and hope for the best. Like, if you're just gonna keep playing as you have so far, it's not good enough. You need to initiate a fight where everything is ready and you get the jump. And they'll find obviously, ideally they do it. Because Song of the Siren can always just interrupt their entire combo, right? Like you pop Shapeshift, you run them. If Naga has ult, she can just ult, and then you're everything. It's kind of in that regard, because duration enough that you can create enough of a liking of the rest of your team that you can negate Shapeshift, and it's not a very strong hero.
I think pretty much every pickoff that Bait is able to get, like even that kill, it required, heroes in the vicinity, so they're not spreading out at all. Like you were talking about, even in the lost fights for Hellraisers, they're getting more. Just being more efficient in every single way right now.
A very large part of this lineup, right? That's one of the huge weaknesses of mid AA. Like it's not effective at putting pressure on the map, so That's why you don't traditionally see hero in a quarrel. This is obviously a huge weakness for not be able to push waves. On the other side, you have Naga, awesome at pushing waves, Timber, awesome at pushing waves, and Ember, awesome at pushing waves. So you're just constantly being tricked. Whenever you're getting shoved into this hard into all your lanes, making aggressive moves, it's really difficult when you don't get any area of the map. That's why it was great to see them take this with that area of the map since. They haven't revisited the bottom part and taken some sort of control somewhere.
I think for his team. Funny, cold feet applied. Should be good to go. Actually doesn't get cold feeted or footed or foot up, whatever you want to call it. It goes. How's Bad Rider die though? Doesn't even matter if it's applied. Here's the stat form on top of Lycan. Won't even be able to pop that ult, and you are just falling apart. The limp back into death. And yeah, this one pretty stompy at this point. Chen looks to be next on the list, so it's gonna be a 4 for nothing. Pretty much no damage. And HELLRAISERS. The Echo Slam is there onto 2. That's the Blink Dagger reveal. Able to take out the cloaks. Ember will follow. So a nice round here. Require 2 buybacks though. And
that was about as good a salami as you're gonna get, and it's
still not enough.
They still lost on that big time from having to buy back Dendy and the Bat. And yeah, you get these kills, but they also turn kills. I know I'm painting a really bleak picture for them, but man, the game is what it is, right? If for them, you can't pretend amazing stuff isn't happening. If you're playing a timing lineup like this, you need to play more closely than they have. You have to take chances. You have to play to win, not play to in the game, right? I don't think the panel has talked about in previous series with that exact wording that Bait is just, they're not playing to win, they're playing to not lose or something like that. It doesn't strategy that specifically thrives. You're gonna lose more or less every game anyway by slow playing. If you pick tempo lineups and you slow play, like what are you playing for? What's the goal of the game? And in this game is that they really didn't use their Chen. Is my 2 cents. Like I just didn't feel it at all. You imagine a team like OG when they had 33 as the stand-in on this Chen. You know what they're gonna do when he has the helmet. They're gonna pile up somewhere and they're gonna put on that pressure. And he's just stranded it for like 5 minutes in the bot lane with no doing anything aggressive. So, and for HELLRAISERS, they're just they're farming all 3 lanes. They're finding luck with their Disruptor and Timber and Ember, of course, and they have the late games. Farm the Siren.
Yeah, she has the Refusal Scotty, which I finally get to see Scotty. Negative regeneration, which won't really matter. I guess it will with Channel potentially. How long does it last? Scotty, is it 3?
Question. Yes.
You have to attack pretty fast to get multiple heroes with that. The Phonic, he's gonna be found Skylark, or is it the other way around? I'm not sure. He's an entire zoo of them, including a disgusting tomato. On the other side, we have a lasso upon Disruptor. That's a nice start here for Skate in this fight. Here as well, so it's a for nothing that started. The 5 on Disruptor as AA getting focused down, gets off his blast, but the Song of the Siren saves him temporarily. An attempt to set something out. Yeah, Storm into kinetic field onto 2. As the Timber Shell will likely try to finish off the ball in this kinetic field. And it looks like the chase is on Dandy. And this split. I mean, it's technically a dieback, but he's been recently revived. So on deck for a very long time. It's now Skylark. Also a 4 for 1. If you include buybacks, 4 for 2. And I do believe with they can just high ground. Probably just. It feels like HELLRAISERS is just going about their motions, right? They're not rushing anything. They're taking what is given to them, which in this game is pretty much everything.
There's nothing wrong with playing a stable game and not getting too crazy. Just pushing and trying to end the game to show like dominance or showing that you have a really good understanding of how strong you are, but at the same time, if you know that every minute there's nothing wrong with playing it stable. So yeah, I'd be happy with either. If you want to play a little bit more map control, take the 2 outer towers and just shut them down. that's also fine. The cooldowns will be ready for the dive again, so it's not like a no-brain, just push the ground, you don't have any spells kind of thing. Shapeshift is coming off, Bat Lasso is coming off, only Candle is missing. So.
Very true. Yule Scepter, Kinetic Field, Spark is likely dead. Seems a little bit of follow-up here. Actually pops his Firefly, but dies nonetheless. So 40 seconds without... Of course, he still doesn't have any sort of initiation itemization. It's Song of Siren onto 2. This could be a huge Kinetic Field, Static Storm, and it is. And position 1 and 2 will swiftly fall, and now the racks will follow.
So, is the AA position 2? That's the question.
True.
Now it gets philosophical.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I guess it depends on your definition of position too. The way that I look, Cinder, and I know this might not be aligned with the pro. If you start in the middle as a solo, you're position 2 regardless if you have the worst farm in the game. But I know that's Echo Slam into the GG! LeBron DOTA loses the game.
It's not like it's his fault. LeBron lost the game.
No. You know what I mean.
because you always got to be improving on your previous self, right? But the demoralizing factor is like, how does Bait know if it's them getting worse or their opponents getting better when you compare it to teams which have been together for a similar length of time?
Look, the one thing that I see a lot of people, when they start flaming Bait, they start flaming Dandy. And when you see a game such as this one, in which he was Ancient Apparition, that was bottom 4 net worth, then I can see how people would flame him. But most of his games, overall, coming from the laning stage, were fine. I think what they are missing is the strategical adaptation to the game after that laning stage. They're just nowhere to be found. They're making smokes that pretty much result in something like a disruptor dying, something like a support dying position.
Or pesky possible clinks running everything before it can begin.
Pesky forceful clinks that hasn't been banned out yet.
They were. I mean, it was a lot of frustration. Do you think you ban out if you're considering Chen again on the side of Bait?
You could flex that Chen again and then perhaps put it on position 5, 4, you know, not on the offlane. It could work for them, as long as LeBron is playing it and there's this idea behind the hero. As long as you play with the Chen, don't leave him stranded on the offlane.
Well, they'll open up with the Rubik. Good defensive support. Doesn't really reveal too much. Seems like it's a good hero to couple with things like the Pangolier, which has just been taken by Hellraisers instead, along with that Clinks again. Oh, this is different.
Okay, so this is definitely a flex pick that we can see on multiple roles.
I'm not so sure.
You think it's just mid?
It's Dandy, yeah. It's like a hero that he loves to play. It's possible to play it on the offlane as well, or something, or some position 4 with. But you have a Rubik already, right? You don't want Rubik on 5, and Dandy loves Magnus.
And it's the best on core right now.
And it's best on that mid lane core, yeah. Hasn't been around for a while. If you remember, when Aghanims was broken on Magnus, when you could skewer a hero from one side to the other, it was so popular. Then it got nerfed a little bit, but mostly the Empower got nerfed when it comes to empowering your teammates, not yourself.
Yeah, it was meant to bring it back to a core role than support, right?
And the Aghanims got nerfed. The Echo Saber BKB build is still solid. It can work.
Okay, well, PA was banned out actually on the side of Hellraisers. Any particular reason that you'd prioritize that ban?
I mean, PA is probably the strongest
combo.
Yeah, combo with the Magnus. I mean, you always have your Jug, AM, Troll, and stuff like that. But Winter Wyvern, to me, okay, they go for a Riki. Winter Wyvern, to me, one of the best counters against the Magnus. Why? He uses the RP, you just use the curse on him. Done. The spell does absolutely nothing, so you don't have it. But maybe with a Riki, who can position himself well and actually use his tricks of the trade, maybe it can work. And plus, Riki is one of those heroes who benefits a lot from it because he has no inbuilt farming mechanic. And with this, he can actually farm, which this hero uses incredibly well.
Yeah, I agree completely. Riki really benefits a lot from the Empower. The way Wyvern counters the Magnus is, even if you get that follow-up, it's the combo breaker, right? There's no big... you can't have any position 1 run in and hit the heroes with Empower, because there will be that Winter's Curse either on the Magnus or on yourself. Then again, there's a lot of teams in Asia right now that pick Riki. They go for the Battle Fury build, right? Because they like the scalability of the hero. They believe that the hero is a good hard carry. That basically you're for protect 1, right? No diffusals, bashers, nothing like that. Just let him farm, let him come back later on in the game. He'll carry us. I believe in this sort of a scenario, you can do both. You have the Empower to farm, and you can go for diffusals to fight early on. But yeah, we see the Magnus response.
Oh, and Witch Doctor coming out.
Witch Doctor and Slardar. Slardar versus the Riki, right? And Witch Doctor, all right, we've seen it last night do really well.
2 wins, 1 loss.
Yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday. How are you feeling about this one, Nicola? I know you've been heavy on the Doctor train.
I like the hero, I love it right now, but I'm hating the fact I'm getting known for a hero that I actually have like 30 games on. If that, I've just been playing him in this
We're
patch.
just gonna cover you in purple paint one of these days.
Yeah, that's gonna look good. Is that purple?
I think it's like a purpley blue, right? I was considering purple. I mean, like, have you seen the classic TA cosplay with the Witch Doctor?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The purple suit.
Like, Witch Doctor is okay here. I mean, if you get 2 heroes, obviously with the Magnus, he's just gonna extend that stun, so then maybe the combo breaker doesn't work as well. He's also gonna secure the Ricky's laning stage. Like this Slardar, even though he would normally crush the Ricky, he might not do as well.
Because Witch Doctor's one of his biggest strengths is the laning stage, right? It's later on, obviously, he brings a lot with Maledict, with Cask, with his ulti, if he manages to use it well. But in the laning stage is where his true strength lies. There are some problems for him. They have a lot of reach. They have ways of getting on top of him. Even that ulti from Klinks can obliterate him, even though it's one of the weakest ones in the game. While he's channeling his ulti, that is. So overall, the Witch Doctor, it doesn't look like the greatest game, but alright, you also have possible combos with Magnus RP. Now you have that dead ward from distance, right? So all that talk about Winter Wyvern's ulti doesn't really come into play as hard as it usually does.
Is that what you think this is? Is now trying to discombobulate their draft a bit, right? Because you said the Witch Doctor can play from far, Ricky could try and snipe the backlines, and then your Mag is waiting for that big wham RP moment. Right.
I mean, I think the Magnus goes in and he hits people, and they go for a Pugna, which...
More retraction.
I guess that's fine. You need some tower push. Though this, I think, puts the Magnus on the offlane.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think you can flex it still, but I don't know, like Rubik Pugna, it's annoying, but if you get some run at you hero, it's actually going to be a problem, right? So... interesting. They have tower push. They have people who stand behind the Pugna to actually save it. So I like this draft, though it doesn't look like something you practice right now, but it looks interesting. I guess.
I mean, how much could they have even practiced?
Yeah,
they have 2 players,
two new players,
two completely new players playing for them. So,
but maybe those 2 players practice something together.
Yeah. Another thing that this Pugna also brings is save versus all the right click. There's a lot of physical damage coming from Hellraisers that the crab fight can come into play. There's also save versus the Winter's Curse with the deck wrap. Once you get that Aether Lance, you can actually save the target. But
it's a big but.
It's a very big but on this Alchemist.
He's a big boy in this studio and in this game as well. I believe there's a man involved in this series that usually says when there's an ALK, it is an ALK game.
When there's an ALK, it's an ALK game indeed. You can answer like building a vessel perhaps on your Witch Doctor, the lane with Magnus. If the Alchemist is safe lane and you're laning with Magnus there, you will be able to last it very well versus him, but it just looks rough instantly. When I see the Alchemist as the last pick, unless you really push the tempo with this Pugna, rush his lane with the Magnus, Alchemist is just your great answer to any empowered hero, because he's gonna farm even faster, come online even faster.
And the problem is, like, if you are a weaker team and you're playing against a hero that you're actually pressured to do stuff against, then you're gonna probably make a lot of mistakes, and that's what I see coming here for Bait. They're gonna maybe ramp up their aggression and just feed a few kills, or like the last time, they're just not gonna be aggressive and lose that way.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, you had me concerned when you said the Witch Doctor could build a Spirit Vessel. That's gonna be maybe a little bit too late for Bait in this game. So are you both on Hellraiser's draft here? Are you riding them to the 2-0, or do you think Bait can bounce this back?
I mean, I'm going with Hellraisers. It's just the pure skill and execution of every draft that they have. It looks like they can take any game versus Bait.
Yeah, definitely going for Hellraisers this time.
All right, well, the panel's decisive in favor of Hellraisers, but don't you worry. To get a little bit more information on how this game's going to go down, we have got our professional Alchemist analyst on standby.
Is that you, Cinderin?
Yeah.
Are you Alchemist? Okay.
It's an Alchemist game, Jen.
Well,
You know what I say about Alchemist games?
Yeah.
When there's an Alchemist in the game, it's an Alchemist game.
I know, it's so deep, you know?
Yeah.
You have to think about it a lot, what that actually means.
Actually, we still have a panel there. I have a question for Lizard quickly, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Lizard, how good does Bait's draft need to be before you think they beat Hellraisers? Because, like, do the picks matter in your prediction? Like, if it was just blind, if you didn't know the matchups,
I think
would
I'd
you-
still. I think I'd go with HR without seeing the matchups pretty much.
I would. I just
Alright.
wish that you would now tell us that we've been baited in the studio and that Alk draft belongs to bait.
But Sind, let me just say this. After the first game, right, and after seeing that they have 2 stand-ins as well, and considering how well Hellraisers have been doing in the tournament, so it's, yeah, I have no confidence in Bait at the moment, sadly.
that's what you love to hear of your Dendy fans. So let's get ready for Bait.
Yeah, choose your
Wow.
pitchforks.
Shannon, I don't know about this Bait draft, man. No, it's
No.
just I see so much of HR's success on their side, and their understanding of the meta way more aligns with what I think is good right now. And on Bait, it's a bit like you're. So here's what I want to say actually. When nothing seems to be going right, I love that they're like being creative and trying something wacky. You know, like, okay, let's do something different. Let's throw a curveball and see how it works. Because if they just pick, let's say, more meta or more stable stuff, if that doesn't suit them or they're not confident with it, maybe it's not gonna work. So that's cool, but I don't think this lineup really fits with what you need in Dota right now. Your Dire lineup doesn't really have a frontliner. It doesn't have a very strong tempo of any kind, and it seems very, very lane reliant. Like, it needs to do well in lanes.
Oh, look at this
To-
mid lane, by the way. Good lord.
Yeah, that's a good lane for Alk, I think. He will lose some CS to Pugna, but he will get his eventually, and he can just go.
Well, we've talked about this before, but just talking about like the way that teams react to losing, right? Cloud9 is a perfect example. The new Cloud. Well, are they even together anymore? I don't know.
No,
But-
Cloud9 quit Dota.
All right. Well, Cloud9, the team that was alive for about 2 weeks and lost about 30 games, they were known to be were just trying new things that weren't necessarily in the meta, but they hadn't really established themselves as a team yet, right? In terms of those 5 players. So from Bait's perspective, would you just prefer them to copy paste like meta heroes, as it were, instead of trying to, you know, find their footing with individual heroes that they just feel more comfortable with? Because I
It's
think there
like-
can be an argument either way, right?
Yeah, I think to me the problem isn't that that Bait in this series, for example, that they pick other heroes than other teams. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't see an identity in the draft. I don't see like a shared feeling of this is what we're going to do in the game, or this is what our team is all about, or this is how we like to play Dota. It's just a little bit of I don't know. You're just spraying. That's a CSGO metaphor you can understand, Shannon. You're kind of just spraying, hoping to hit, you know?
Well, it's
That's what
okay
it
to
feels
spray
like.
if you understand the spray patterns. And
Yeah,
they don't
where's the
seem to understand the pattern. They're just blindly spraying and looking all around them.
I know I'm sounding like a hater here, but I don't see it. It's if they see it, that's completely fine. Like if they prove it, if they show the strategy and the way that they're playing is going to work. But to me, it looks a little bit all over the place. Like no clear identity, no clear shared perception of the game. And if there is one, I just don't agree with this kind of draft for this patch right now. But let's stop the hate.
Yeah,
and
let's
watch
stop
some Bait.
bashing as LeBron is getting beat down. He's going to stop his salve and live. But I
This is
think
a
if you're
5 cling?
Hellraisers, you're fine with that. Oh, you're right. I didn't even realize. They're really confident then. Funnick top lane is going to get
that's-
cast. Excalibur will get off a Tricks for the trade, and with that Maledict should tick down, I do believe. Almost, maybe. Oh my god. One more.
He will live from the tango alone.
All right, 10 HP. Congratulations to Funnick. He is a god. Yeah, only level 1 Maledict, of course, but
Considering
It's
Spartan
start of
started
game.
hero voice line laughing, I think he thought he had that kill. It only looked like. I mean, honestly, you have a guy with like 5% HP and you maledicted him for the last 20%. You think he's gonna die? But level 1 maledict is just that bad that a tango can
Yeah.
actually negate it on this earlier.
I'm sure he'll have another opportunity a little later.
It's still good. They flush him out of lane. I think this game compared to the first game, the early laning stage of Bait is going a bit better. Dendy has a head start in mid against the Alchemist because his lane matchup is good to begin with, and then Alk will go jungle and recover. But also all three lanes really this time for Bait are getting theirs, so that's a good sign. You want to have the opportunity to make your moves. Skylark.
Oh, Skylark
juicy.
actually skewers in to kill the courier. It had a decent amount of regen on it, so nicely done overall.
I think it actually skewered in to just pull the wave. And you're like,
okay.
It's a courier. Nice.
Yeah, you're right. They don't have a ward.
I don't think they had vision, so that was just a little bit of luck there. Very nice.
Well
though.
played, sir. It's all skill at the end of the day. I mean, the panel kind of brought this up, but in terms of like the mid-game team fight potential, obviously you got RP. You have the Empower Ricky, which is ridiculously strong in the right hands. So it's not like they don't have synergy on their team. You just don't like it as like in terms of pacing. Is that specific what you're talking about when you say it's not fitting the meta?
I don't know the best way to explain it. It's like sometimes this is gonna sound like the most random statement ever. Like sometimes you just look at a draft and you don't see how the pieces necessarily fit together. Like there's elements here that work well together. Like Magnus Ricky, you see it, but then at the same time there's support. So yeah, this could be first blood. It will.
Maledict is still alive.
God,
This time it is still level 1 actually. Yeah, Roger will actually fix. So Cinder, you're incorrect, but
It will be first blood.
is the one. Spartan's gonna be the one to first blood. Another sound.
Who's gonna be first blood?
Pause.
If this cast bounces perfectly, he
What
could live.
the horse happens now? Is it A, Spartan dies? Is it B, the centaur gets... Oh, there's no centaur in there, it died. The centaur somehow revives itself. Or is it C, Bait
Bait
just loses the
announced
game?
their next stand-in.
I mean, what else can happen other than Spartan dying?
If this cask bounces to the little centaur and then back to Funnick, I think it might make it before he can attack again. I think
Okay.
so. Yeah. And if it does, Spartan could juke him in the trees. Oh, Funnick has 7 sticks too. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Spartan's dead. Spartan's dead. I choose A. Spartan
Okay,
dies.
A.
Was that
Good.
A?
I don't know. I could have just said all of the above are the same answer. It basically was. But yeah, Swashbuckle on cooldown from the 9 seconds. This is a tease. First blood tease right here. All right, they're gonna go. So
Let's see the coconut. Let's see the bounce.
all right. There's the bounce. It didn't even matter. Now Funnick's gonna turn on Excalibur. If he can get a lucky proc off his lucky shot, Tricks of the Trade is there. Excalibur does have Blink Strike, but a nice swashbuckle into the fog. So Funnick gets away with murder.
Yep. Bottom lane. Oh
We
no.
have a skewer again. Skylark has been
Miscommunication there. They wanted to lift and then skewer, but then he lifted and topped him to the right, and Skylark skewered straight back like he was just going to hold him where he was. So not on the same page on that move.
You know, can I rant for a little moment here, Cinder? I remember, if you remember casting with me way back when, because I know you block a lot of this stuff out of your memory, but Alchemist used to be my favorite hero to cast because of Aghanim Scepter. People actually used to use that mechanic. As we're going to see the back in the bot lane, LeBron Dota able to get off the telekinetic shortly after. The Pushka skewered in, gets off the fairy fire, and another bash from Kaysan. Gets off a crush to follow him. Pushka with the healing salve. Maledict is now applied to Kaysan, but they're just going to chase down Skylark. And they'll find it. But 2 for nothing. Spartan is on the list. Bash into Crush into the right clicks of Pushka. And that is 3. Jeez Louise. Cinderin. Anyway, back to my discussion. Why is... We need to bring back Aghanim Scepter Alchemist. I hate to say this, but Slax's support Alchemist, we need that back. You just jungle and get Ags for everybody. That makes it more exciting.
Do we need Alchemist actually at all?
I like him. He's a good hero. Funnick Maledict on top of a cat.
Spoken like someone who doesn't play the game. Okay,
I
Funnick.
a lot. I love it. Playing Alchemist. I mean, it finally dies.
Good kill. This lane is actually pretty strong. Unfortunately, Witch Doctor's only level 2 minutes 7. When he gets level 3 Witch Doctor and gets level 2
Lanes. Roger. Life drain. Pops the wand that lives.
could get flanked here by Bolt. LeBron has a ward. So, oh, no, but he actually placed that ward under enemy vision, so they know the ward is there and he's gonna escape on Roger. Being bottled up.
Funnick TP's in, gets off spot, blocks off LeBron, and he is going to be completely surrounded. He does have telekinesis though, and Dendy is here for support. Potentially live telekinesis with the sun. Yeah, doesn't matter. Dendy.
In the suck.
Never want to hear that out of your mouth ever again. Pugna.
You are lying.
Oh, he's getting blocked. That's true. I just don't want to reveal my true feelings. Dendy, another blast. Dealing a lot of damage with the decrepify Funnick, but he doesn't have any back. Of course, well, actually, I forgot that life train was changed. Only a 7-second levels without the Ags.
Yeah.
That is a huge quality of life change for Pugna players out there. How often was Ags even purchased on Pugna before they made
Frequently,
that change?
actually.
Really, I really love that Ags back in the day, as in like a month ago. Funnick gets found out here. Gallagher chase. Roger's here to slow him down, but Funnick will certainly die despite the cold embrace. In essence, wasted here. Tricks of the train follow. The train, not great communication in Excalibur. Could have done a little physical damage before that prep came about. Numbers in this game here. Indeed. All 5 from Bait are here. I mean, this is what we're talking about last game. Is this worth it?
I think the goal you have when you're playing against the Alchemist is to take his mid tower and start taking over the areas that he farms in. If this were done in the tower, I think it's worth a little bit of a loss in the side lanes because you have to try to limit his space overall, but they don't get the tower. So in the end, not really worth it. Free farming Alchemist, top free farming Slaughter bot, you brought 5 heroes, and now you're losing heroes on the way out. It's not great. It's not great for Bait.
Not great for Bait. Excuse me.
I don't even know what accent it's supposed to be.
Great Scottish. It
was like half Scottish, half Russian. I've never heard that in my life.
It's a new accent I've created, patented.
Oh, Dendy.
It's one word. Oh, the Crepify. He's got his comrades here. That was a Russian hybrid accent. He's gonna get Rolling Thunder though, and absolutely destroyed. Excalibur here, he takes the bounty. That's a quick stop onto floor. Ravage, if you will. And they'll find the Wyvern. Excalibur blinks to safety, and
Biggest play of the game by neutral creep. That was a joke.
I know.
I'm kidding.
By the way, Trusty Shovel.
It's not nice to create someone while they're down. So let's be nice.
That's your humor. It's all negative, you know.
Yeah, I'm a really toxic person. Absolutely.
I've never met anyone more toxic than you. You don't raise your voice, but you know when you're being stern. You know, people understand the hatred fuming from you.
I've successfully made a brand out of being sarcastic. I've meant it the whole time.
I know.
Oh,
It's a secret until now. See the amplified damage, aka corrosive haze, onto Excalibur. How much does that? Oh, we're gonna pull that thought here. We have 4 heroes again here from Fate. It just feels like I call this nut hugging. I don't know if anybody else calls it that, but
no.
When everybody just sticks together, they're not doing anything alone. It's like they're all part of the nut, you know. Acorn.
Right.
Nick's in the top lane though. Looks like
big kill.
Ooh, that is a big kill.
The biggest boy.
And Spartan gets credit for that one.
I'll take this very nice against Alchemist. It will get bigger when Alk gets a counter item. Oh, they saw me Pushka as well. Just think him. And
have a cast. Till now, the last game was unfortunate for him. So he will. Oh, he gets the skewer off and then just dies. Oh my! All right, really not what he wanted.
Yeah, I get where he was coming from. If he RP'd both of them, he should survive there, but is that really worth it? Endy mid?
Lane though. Yeah, the curse into the crush den is just donezo. On looks to keep list. Corrosive Haze is there. Oh my god, even this combo with Funnus. Swashbuckler just deals so much damage. But Sonny will barely live and will heal even more on top of that. 3 dead now as Funnick buckle in 2 seconds, not able to get to the low ground though. Excalibur able to help clean him up. It might cost him his life. Yeah. You know, G potential. So having that on cooldown is gonna cost them even more than just earlier death. It's gonna cost them a Ricky and potentially his second death here. All they need is 1 bash and they'll get it. And death.
Pushka got 4 kills with Deathpack there, I think. So now up to 35 bonus damage on his 5 clinks. Actually starting
Time to go
really
this, so.
So I think this 5 clinks thing got pioneered by Kuroki, I want to say, recently. Nigma had a couple of games where they played 5 clinks and just stomped. I don't remember which tournament it was. It might have also been, was it WePlay Mad Moon? Or maybe it was another one. I'm forgetting, but they definitely showed that this 5 clinks can be a thing. And other teams since then have tried to play it both 5 and 4, and you know, clinks is winning games. There's no denying it. Definitely working. It's one of also the rank 1 player on Europe server, Crit from EG, is playing a lot of clinks in his pubs. He's playing it offlane, mid, carry, and 4. I think all 4 roles, and having great success with it here. So interesting times when clinks is good. That's been a while.
Yeah, and it's as a support, which is even weirder, historically speaking. They have a lot of minus armor on this team as well, which we'll talk about just a bit. Sonic gets off his Rolling Thunder. It's actually stolen by LeBron. We're going to see a green cube come in. Beautiful. Look at that. I don't know how that works physically, but it does. They're able to find that position 5 clinks that we are just talking about, and they'll be good to go. Maybe they push the tier 1 tower. Pressure the mid lane, but it looks like Hellraisers will not give this up without a fight. Curse into a concoction, into a buckle, gets off the decrepit side of this. 1 is there, and likely the damage is followed. But here comes Spartan with a cask into the Death Ward. Not nearly enough. 2 dead in the blink of an eye. Now Excalibur attempts to blink out himself. Funnick misses his swashbuckle, but it likely matters not. Nothing to blink to. Trade for the trade up at just a moment. But it was not to be Cinderin. 3 for nothing, and onto the mid lane, Alchemist goes. Actually, very fortuitous timing as well, because the bounties will split, surprisingly enough. It's going to cost actually the Pushka. He will be the one who's likely to fall here. Pisani is here though, it's the crush, and we'll find the Rubik instead. So a nice rotation there again from Hellraisers.
Mid tower will fall. Nice to knife from Dundee. So splitting the gold. But Alk is already reaching critical mass. He's so far ahead of everyone. BKB coming up in probably 1-2 minutes with his racer and shreds.
How's that critical mass? Isn't it critical mass like your apex? The slaughter finds a kill top.
Okay, I guess maybe it's the wrong wording, but it's Alchemist's first. He's just a god at the game, right? Like if he gets this fast radiance is really good, but usually you don't transform a fast radiance into just winning a team fight and slowing the game under control. Usually you use the radiance to maybe take a good fight, you keep farming, you get the BKB, and that's when you really kick it. So in a way, it kind of is Alchemist's apex, because in some ways when you think about it, when he gets his next 2 items, in this game, I would agree it's probably not, because he can just keep out farming like crazy. Many games with Alchemist are actually won when he gets Radiance BKB, and then he wins 1 or 2 big fights, and that's where those 3rd, 4th items come out of nowhere from, seemingly. It's when the hero really starts to pack. And he's got it now. 1638. Radiance BKB. Magnus has a dagger, but do they have the damage? Now that the Alk can BKB, I don't know if they can actually kill him anymore.
You're looking for. Ooh, he was trying to cast animation a little bit too long, but looks like they'll find the kill either way. Pushka now at 40 damage as Mika at 45. How close do you have to be? Or is it just the debuff applied?
It's the debuff, yeah.
That's on. I see.
And the debuff lasts how long? Well, I'm glad it says that on the spell. That's good to know.
Yeah. well, what can you do?
Why does it not say that? Am I blind?
Probably.
Does it actually not say how long the debuff lasts? It says how much health you get, how much permanent damage you get, and how much the armor reduction is, but not how long it
They
is.
will have plenty of time to keep leading, but they're doing Roche, and they do it real fast because of the minus armor syndrome.
Okay,
Great
so-
minus armor strategy.
Death Pact. Dota 2. Armor reduction duration 3 seconds. Okay. Well, it doesn't say that in the game for some reason, but it's 3
Kind of short then. Scotty. The DD available in the bot riverside. Dendy looking to bottle it. Still has curse. Whoa, did it just put the bottle on the ground? Oh my god, what was that? Alright. I don't know if that was actually a base. RP onto Team Round Thunder to fall. It's a completely wasted RP now. And there's the curse to follow. Fight is a bit scattered. It's going to cost him his life right off the bat. LeBron will trade, or that's not a trade, that's a different thing. Roger will be the trade. Now, the amalgamation of a bait are attempting to get out of dodge, Cinderman, but Andy does get up a life drain, but Funix will likely finish him off with this last swashbuckle fall. Nope, he missed.
Decrep timing.
Yeah, Decrep as well. And Kasani, more than enough damage. And let's see how much damage Pushka will have after this. It wasn't able to get too much more, so 45 minutes. But again, this is a position fight. You don't have to do much more.
No. And now Hellraiser's feeling so
did he
confident that they
actually-
start cutting waves with Alchemy.
Did he actually dodge with the Crypto Fly, or
Yeah.
was it? Did he actually just miss? I thought
He
he
dodged it.
Okay.
I mean, Swashbuckle is physical, so either way it doesn't deal damage in it, right?
No, I know that. I thought he did it before that. So, I could be wrong. Concoction onto a thick acid spray, and that will cost him his last net. 14k network lead here for HELLRAISERS. Of course, that's an Alchemist lineup. So, I mean, that's still, it feels like 8k network lead in all the games. Would you agree with that equivalence?
I don't know. I don't know if you can just draw parallel like that.
Just
but
do it, and it's fun.
Yeah, 8k lead for Radiant.
Yeah.
This is the problem also with, like, you're playing Mag against Alchemy. This is actually a classic counterpick to Magnus. Back when Magnus was more popular, teams started picking Alch because Mag lineups were slow and greedy, and they wanted to just farm and get, you know, 1 or 2 cores up to 1 or 2 key items within power. And then people started picking Alchemists because they were just like, okay, well, if you guys want to farm, we'll farm 3 times as fast as you, and we'll end before you, and power even matters. That's kind of what's happening in this game, right? Like, you have this Mag with power, he has Trid's Blink, and Alchemist now has Blink, Radiance, BKB, almost AD at the same time. So, empower
about
yourself,
when-
you empower the Ricky, it's not... Like,
What about when Mag was a support and you would just empower like right away in lane?
the same story, right? Because then you have a Mag support, he's not strong at roaming, he's not ganking, he can't pressure the Alch. Alch farms, Mag will
He's
empower
weak in
his
lane in
teammates.
general.
And now it's the new Mag anyway, right? Has much worse empower than his teammates, and it's only strong himself. So it doesn't really map much.
I just noticed that Panga here. I'm gonna have to rant another time here, Cinder. Kasani does have the Hellraiser. They actually gonna try this. Oh my god, they're actually trying. They were thinking about it. Concoction is there, and oh my god, Witch Doctor dies instantly after the TP, and HELLRAISERS is just gonna go to town on bait. The buyback of the Witch Doctor now. Good to go with that Rolling Thunder out of the base, and Age is still attacking. Shuras. I was gonna move to the Vampire Fangs. It's on the Alchemist. He's gonna jump in with that link. Ricky getting healed up, but it's not enough. A triple kill. Curse to follow onto the Pugna, but
Stolen Curse?
yeah, they do have Stolen Curse and the buyback now from Excalibur's Ricky. That's fun. This might be found out here. This could be a kill for Bait. It feels like every time that Bait is about to get a kill, I'm questioning whether they're gonna get it, because it just feels like they've had some bad luck in some of these engagements these last couple of games where, you know, one of those days where just the 50s just aren't going your way. That's what it feels like. But they'll find a quote-unquote 50-50 here. And a kill on
I feel like this game has also, this day for them has also been one of those where the 95 5s don't go your way. Not just the 50-50.
Boy, those unopened chests today, my friends. Okay, Sonic gets initiated on by Excalibur. He has his defusal, but and it's funny just going between Atmos and any other hero. It's absolutely absurd, the discrepancy in form. But I mean, even without that, Excalibur has not farmed well, and we've kind of talked about this position when Ricky will not be able to farm well if you're not able to get kills, especially if you go to first.
So
if
he
you went
wants
for like
to
the
fight.
Battle Fury, yeah, you would have been able to farm a little bit faster.
But you want to fight, but then you have a Magnus, and your supports are Rubik Witch Doctor, so team fights are difficult. That's the whole, like, that's the essence of this thing where you look at the lineup and you're like, when does this really come together? Like, what's the timing where they want to do the same thing and it will do it well? It's a curse.
We have Stolen Curse, he's applied, but he died casting it. Nice shield for Dendy on Skylark, and it will actually save his life as, well, Doctor just gets demolished. Kisani has finished all his drum charges. By the way, the net was stolen by Nyx as he stunned Ricky. So they have a pretty clumsy net on the Alchemist, getting literally every advantage. Now. Who has the fangs? Okay, I feel... Alright, I'm going to say this because this is a different build than Pango. We've talked about this so many times. But Fangs on Pango is like god tier. We just have Vlad's, so I guess it's a little...
Yeah.
Just wants that.
He clearly would have another item than the Ironwood tree, though, right? He should have the Shawl or the Fangs.
Oh, Shawl. I didn't even know they had that.
I think they just forgot.
Dendy demolished, deleted. Alt F4. Everyone with a gun. Looks like
And now
working on type 4.
Can't really leave the base.
Yeah.
It's difficult because the only way they set up a team fight that will work for them, they have to get a money RP. Like, it needs to be with Ricky on top, with 3-man Maledict, everything hits. But how do you get HR in a position where that's even a possibility? You need somebody to lead the fight, so the enemy team comes up as like a bait, where they try it on somebody. Yeah. Oh, it's in the name.
Yeah, maybe that's the ace in the hole, Synderen. Hey, they do have some capability for team fight. Obviously, you talked about the RP. The Maledict, Death Ward, Cask combination can be pretty strong. But I wouldn't say they have a necessarily wombo type potential, right? There's not like that second spell that kind of easy to execute. I mean, Death Ward is amazing, but it is channeling it. Next. Okay, that's the heal. Alright, they're gonna save Spartan. Very nice. Maledict to follow Death Ward as well, but he's taking basically no damage. Up to BKB afterwards, and Spartan takes down with the ease. Curse onto 2. Dendy decreps himself. His team dies shortly after, and he gets rolled over by a freaking armadillo. Or, sorry, it's pangolin. Basically an armadillo.
Just about to trigger chat there.
And they announced, or they teased Pangolier.
Right.
And a lot of the people at first thought it was an armadillo.
Yeah.
But it was a pangolin syndrome.
Armalier just doesn't sound as good.
What animal is Pangolier based off of? Correct. Armadillo. So we have a CP in from Spartan, who basically is not working on anything. Doesn't really have much money to work with. I mean, we're looking at Nyx here. Get the oh my goodness. The Pistol Blade and Blink combo. I mean, when you can just delete any hero you want at any time with that combo, it's yeah, not looking good as that voice thing comes through. So free racks top, and I mean, I should have mentioned, of course, there is great steals, like the Winter's Curse we did see, but just haven't been able to really find the comp. Skylark not able to get the skewer. And the Aegis is now gone, so they can just wait for, or I don't know if they need to necessarily. I guess it's up to them. I mean, what's the neutral item discrepancy? Like, I guess started with this third tier.
Yeah, now that they're at 27 minutes.
I don't think they can even have time to find any of these neutrals. They do have Ricky though. Doesn't from the camps necessarily fast. So Roger has the blink curse, but we're gonna see Alchemist again. The time go on top of the Ricky. The sacrifice, I should say. But Ricky was found out. There's the curse concoction. Is gonna end up stunning himself in addition, and this should do it. Nothing. Stop. Oh, the RPG into the fountain. It does nearly no damage, Cinderin. The plops are not there. Dendy is here with the heal though. Nyx finally dies. 80 seconds on the deck. This fountain farming. Fountain farming is fun in Dota. Kasani will fall. A 3 for whatever the hell.
That would not have happened in Path of Guardians, ladies and gentlemen. They would have all died with multi-shot break fountain. But in Dota,
mechanics.
die.
Thank you.
I played it last night.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I played like 3 or 4 games.
Did you dive?
It's fun. It's fun. Yeah, I did once. I died real fast.
The first time you do it, it's a real treat to watch. You know, people's reaction, just the joy.
I think we did a 3-man fountain dive and we all just died in 2 seconds. We were like, okay.
Good. That's what
I immediately called it out. It's like, this is the Sunspan fountain right there. That's the Sunspan.
Indeed. So yeah, having a little fun here. Hellraisers obviously could have just went more racks, but
yeah,
trying to add insult to injury. There's the death on the position 5 Pushka, by the way.
It does make for a fun win probability graph. Like it looks really interesting. If it just keeps.
What's the key for that?
F8, if you have default.
Nope, doesn't work for me.
Unfortunate.
Yes, I apologize everybody for ruining this cast with not being able to see the Dota Plus graph.
I think maybe the camera can still see it though.
So we'll come minus armor. We for the 9-second BKB is still up for.
Wait, how much minus armor did they actually have? So they have 5 from Klinks' attack.
Well, Deso.
8 from Crest, that's 13. 7 from Deso, sorry, that's 19. Roll to 3, that's 37 minus armor. And acid spray, that's 44 minus armor.
Yes.
Right?
This will do
Did
just
you count that fact? Okay.
So 44 minus armor. It's pretty
Now, if they go for another 30 minutes, you can get Stygian, and that's an additional 10, I believe. Is it 10? I think it might be. So 6. It should be 10.
And it stacks with Deso, right? Yeah.
Oh, and they got Orbit Destructive. They all stack centers. So this is the play, right?
That is 49
play for
now.
30 minutes. Yeah, that's good.
That is the play.
Oh, we got an Aghanim
Give
Scepter.
their eggs.
It is Sladar, my boy. Great Aghanim Scepter, of course.
Please don't say it like Slacks does. It's.
I know. It triggers a lot of people. And if he's some putt action, he's not level 25 though, so no, nobody ever gets the Slytherin Crush cooldown anyway, but
I've seen it.
it's always true. I guess there's some cases where Phase being undispellable is not needed at all. As we see our hero rolling thunder come through, Skylark is going to be immediately as Brax will be destroyed here. He has to scoot up to safety, and by safety I mean complete death. It's crepified. RP is available, but he's stunned perpetually dead. Now Dendy, Ursa, will be as a result. Until he dies swiftly after. And why am I still casting this? Why? She's not called. This game is mega over. Another. Okay, he can actually dive the fountain with his Ags.
He has cheese as well.
Cheese, right? Delicious cheese. All right, this game's over. 17. The Alchemist was. We'll have to check the engage screen. A mega stomp.
Slaughter. 17.
Oops. Oh,